Before we begin, let the silence settle around you. Not the kind you hear, the kind you feel crawling into the corners of the room. The story I'm about to tell wasn't meant to be spoken out loud. Someone carried it alone for far too long, afraid that saying it would make it real again. If a piece of their truth touches something you've kept buried, you can tell me in the comments. And if these quiet shadows keep pulling you back, you can like the video, subscribe, and tap the bell icon. Now don't move. Some memories wake up when they're listened to. I've always loved streaming. My name's Denial, 23, small-time horror streamer, mostly late-night lives where I tell ghost stories or explore haunted corners of my apartment. Halloween is my favorite, obviously, the perfect night to scare myself and my viewers at the same time. That night, I had planned something special, a 3-hour horror marathon, ending with a solo scare segment in my dimly lit bedroom. The room was quiet, the only illumination coming from my laptop screen and a small orange lamp. The faint smell of burnt candle wax lingered from earlier streams, mixing with the musky scent of my old curtains. Outside, the wind rustled leaves across the quiet street, and the occasional distant car horn added to the nighttime rhythm. "All right, everyone," I said, smiling nervously at the camera. "Last story for tonight, and I promise, this one's going to be a little different." The chat exploded with excitement. Emojis flooded the screen, viewers egging me on. I leaned back, running my hands through my hair, feeling that familiar chill crawl up my spine, the kind of tiny dread that makes the hair on your arms stand up. I finished the story, a tale about a shadow that follows its victim into their dreams, and the chat responded with frenzied applause, laughter, and comments. That was creepy AF. No way I'm sleeping tonight. Dude, you need to chill. I laughed, shutting down the live after waving goodbye, reassuring everyone I'd see them next time. Satisfied, I shut my laptop and crawled into bed. The room was dark now, the city lights outside dim. I felt warm and safe, the lingering fear from the story already fading. Sleep came almost immediately, my last conscious thought being how lucky I was to live alone in a safe neighborhood. Or so I thought. At some point in the night, my phone buzzed. Groggy, I reached for it, confused. I didn't have notifications enabled for the stream. I wasn't live anymore. But there it was, my account, live, still streaming, and thousands of people were watching. I rubbed my eyes, half asleep. "Must be a glitch," I muttered. My room was dark and silent. Nothing unusual. I turned over and tried to ignore it. But the viewers in the chat were panicking. "Denial, wake up. There's something in your room. Oh my God, he's asleep and it's moving." My heart skipped a beat. I sat up, squinting at the laptop. The camera was positioned exactly as I had left it, facing my bed and the open space of my bedroom. First, it seemed empty. The shadows were normal, the outlines of my furniture familiar. Then, slowly, the faintest sound of footsteps echoed, soft, deliberate enough that it didn't match the creaks of my old floorboards. I froze. My breathing hitched. I was alone, right? The camera began to tilt, ever so slightly, as if some unseen hand nudged it. The angle changed, the lens now pointing toward the bedroom door, a door I had closed. But it was slightly ajar in the feed now. I blinked, convinced I was still dreaming. My heart raced. The chat was screaming, "The door! Stop sleeping! Turn off the stream now!" I tried to move, but I felt paralyzed. Not physically, but mentally, as if the fear had rooted me to the bed. The door creaked slowly, painfully, opening on its own. The floorboards groaned, the kind of sound only an empty apartment should never make. I blinked hard, rubbed my eyes, and tried to shake myself awake. But the screen didn't lie. Something was moving across my floor. Something crawling. The viewers described it in real time. A dark, wet-sounding figure, low to the ground, sliding silently toward the center of the room. Its movements were wrong, jerky in some moments, fluid in others, like it didn't belong to a human body. My pulse thundered. My fingers shook. I wanted to scream. I wanted to wake up. But sleep had left me defenseless, my body limp beneath the blankets. my mind trapped between reality and nightmare. The chat was overwhelming now, thousands of voices screaming, warning, pleading. It's right behind you. Oh God, don't turn around. Please wake up. Couldn't. The darkness of the room pressed in, the familiar shapes of my furniture warped in the faint light from the laptop. The crawling figure drew closer, its form obscured by shadow, but its intent undeniable. Something ancient, patient, and hungry. I felt it, not just on the camera, but on me. The air around my bed grew cold, heavy, metallic, the smell of wet iron filling my nostrils. The sheets felt sticky against my skin, though they were dry. The sense of being watched, of being approached, of being targeted, gnawed at every nerve in my body. The laptop screen reflected it in faint shapes. I could see movement along the floorboards, its outline elongated unnaturally, stretching like liquid shadow across the carpet. The cat, Shadow, had hissed earlier, but I was too paralyzed to notice her now. The live continued, thousands of viewers documenting it. They were my witnesses. I was asleep, defenseless, unaware. Yet through the screen, they saw it all, the crawling thing, the slow, deliberate approach toward my bed, the empty space filling with a presence that had no right to exist there. I finally stirred slightly. A twitch, a murmur, nothing more. The figure froze. The camera, still moving slightly, tilted down, capturing the edge of my bed. And then, a shadow leaned over me. Not human. Too tall, too thin, too fluid. Its head cocked like a predator studying prey. The viewers screamed in the chat, desperate, helpless. And just like that, it receded. The camera stabilized. The room looked empty again. But the tension lingered, thick as smoke. The live ended on its own. The last frame of the feed showing nothing but my bed, the shadows stretching long and wrong across the carpet. When I finally awoke hours later, the laptop was closed, my room quiet. I felt safe. For a moment, I thought it had been a nightmare, a sleep-induced hallucination. But the chat logs remained, thousands of comments describing in detail something that no one else could have known. Something that had crawled across my room while I slept. I haven't gone back to streaming in that room. I haven't opened the window blinds at night. Every time I hear a floorboard creak or a faint brush across the wall, my pulse jumps. I check the laptop constantly, fearing the screen will light up again with a live I didn't start, showing me what's been creeping closer, just out of sight. Because I know it's still there, waiting, patient. And next time, it might not wait until I fall asleep. Halloween isn't just a night anymore. For me, it's every night, watching, crawling, patient. And I'm terrified of what the viewers will see next, because I might not even be awake to notice it. I've been streaming for a few years now, mostly late-night horror streams, paranormal discussions, and the occasional challenge for clicks. My name's Samir, 27, and I thought I had seen it all. That night, I set up my laptop by my bedroom window for a live. The city skyline 5 stories below, lights flickering faintly in the distance. The room was dim, the only illumination coming from the screen and a single desk lamp. The faint smell of coffee lingered from earlier, mixed with the crisp, chilly air seeping in through the cracked window. "Hey everyone," I said into the camera, trying to sound casual. "Late night city vibes tonight. Thought I'd hang out and talk horror stories. Nothing too crazy, probably." The chat buzzed immediately with greetings, emojis, and typical late-night banter. I sipped my coffee, feet up on the desk, the faint hum of the city outside filling the silence between messages. A gentle breeze fluttered the curtains, and I could hear the occasional distant siren, the clatter of a car, life going on in the city below. Then I heard it, a soft tapping. At first, I assumed it was the tree outside brushing against the window. I turned my head, half grinning at the sound, waving at the camera. "Probably just the branches, folks. Nothing to worry about." The chat responded with a few laughing emojis and jokes about haunted apartments. But the tapping continued, and it wasn't random. It had rhythm now, deliberate, almost impatient. I frowned. The city was noisy, but this was different. I leaned closer to the window, trying to peer outside. The branches seemed still. The wind didn't feel strong enough to make that sound. Then the tapping became knocking. Bang, bang, bang. My heart skipped. I jerked back from the window, trying to convince myself it was a prank, a neighbor, anything normal. But the chat was going insane. Look out the window. Turn off the stream. OMG Samir, don't turn around. I laughed nervously. Okay, chill. Probably just someone messing with me. 5 stories up, sure, right? But then it got worse. The knocking intensified, louder, almost violent. And then, I saw it. A handprint on the glass. Pale, almost translucent, pressed from the outside. My stomach dropped. My fingers went icy. 5 stories up. No balcony. No ladder. No way anyone could have reached it. Yet there it was, smeared across the pane, fingers splayed, palm pressed like it had been carved into the glass. I stumbled back, heart hammering, my voice trembling. No, that's impossible. The chat exploded. Viewers were spamming warnings. Frantic. Some even claimed they could see scratches forming along the edge of the handprint. Then I heard it, the dragging sound. Long, slow, deliberate scraping against the glass. Something was moving across it, leaving deep, jagged lines across the window. My pulse thundered in my ears. Couldn't breathe. The metal tang of fear mixed with the faint scent of something wet, coppery, iron-like. Hit me. I forced myself toward the curtain. Hands shaking violently, I gripped the fabric and pulled. Nothing prepared me for what I saw. The last frame of my life froze me in mid-motion, pulling back the curtain, and pressed against the glass a face. Pale, impossible, almost sickly, with hollow, black eyes and a mouth twisted in a grin that didn't make sense for a human. Wet streaks ran down the glass from its mouth, and the nose seemed flattened, pressed as though it were desperate to see inside. Its gaze met mine, and I swear, even from 5 stories up, I felt the weight of it, the sheer intent in those eyes. I stumbled backward, tripping over the desk, laptop clattering to the floor. The screen went black mid-live. Silence engulfed the room. The only sound was my ragged breathing, shaking hands, and the faint scraping from outside, retreating for now. I locked the window immediately, heart hammering. Shadowed corners of my room seemed darker, heavier. The familiar skyline below looked benign, normal, but I knew it wasn't. That face, that hand, the scraping, it had been real, and it had been watching me. Hours passed. I dared not sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that pale, pressed face, grinning, fingers splayed across the glass. I heard imaginary scratches across the pane, phantom knocks, tapping that no one else could hear. The live recording, when I finally dared to check it later, the handprint and scratches were gone. Only the faint outline of my own terrified reflection remained. No evidence of what I'd seen. Only the memory, only the fear. And sometimes late at night, when the wind brushes against my window, I swear I hear it again. Faint knocks dragging along the glass. Waiting, watching, patient. I haven't streamed from that window since. I haven't opened it alone. But I know that thing is still up there, somewhere pressing, waiting. And the next time I sit by my window, it might be closer than I think. Because fear, it never leaves. Halloween was supposed to be fun. My name's Armin, 24, and my girlfriend, Lena, and I decided to do a couple's costume live on TikTok. Nothing crazy, just a silly theme, matching zombie outfits, fake blood smeared in the right places, and a little bit of cheesy acting for the viewers. We'd been dating for 3 years, and this was our first time doing a joint Halloween stream, so I was excited. The living room was dimly lit, orange and purple lights casting long, soft shadows. The faint smell of pumpkin spice candles mixed with the sharp tang of fake blood on our costumes. Outside, the wind rustled dry leaves, and the occasional car passed, its headlights flashing across the room through the blinds. Lena's cat, Shadow, curled up silently on the couch, tail twitching. "Hey guys, happy Halloween," I said into the camera, grinning. "We're your friendly neighborhood zombies tonight. Let's scare some people, huh?" The chat exploded with excitement. Cutest zombies ever. Couples costumes goals. Do the zombie walk. Lena laughed and posed next to me. Her costume was perfect. Pale face, dark eyes, fake blood around her lips. She held my hand and smiled for the camera. The kind of wide, bright smile that made me melt every time. But then, something changed. Midway through a selfie pose, she froze. Completely. Mid-smile. Her eyes didn't blink. Not once. Her body stiffened like a statue. My heart skipped a beat. I shook her shoulder lightly, joking. Lena? Hey, you good? No response. She didn't even exhale. Just stared, smile locked in place. The chat was frantic, but half of them thought it was a prank. LOL, she's acting. Nice makeup prank. Armin, stop panicking, it's fake. But I knew it wasn't acting. The warmth I usually felt radiating from her was gone. Her skin felt icy to the touch when I grabbed her hands. My stomach twisted. Lena, come on, talk to me. I shook her more urgently. Her smile, it widened. Slowly, unnaturally, stretching beyond human limits. Her lips curving impossibly. I stumbled back a step, choking on a strangled yell. The chat went completely berserk. What the hell? Is she okay? Stop the live. I tried to force her hands down, to get her to stop, but her fingers curled like claws. Her eyes stayed open, dark, unblinking, and the smile. God, that smile. It was inhuman, too wide, stretching across her face with jagged edges that shouldn't exist on a human mouth. And then she whispered, not in her voice, not even in a voice that sounded remotely human. Deep, guttural echoing. It filled the room and my chest with terror. You shouldn't have come here. I dropped back, hands trembling, heart hammering. Lena? No, this is not funny. Talk to me. She didn't respond. She tilted her head slightly, unnatural, jerky movements, like a broken doll. The candlelight flickered, casting shadows across her widened mouth. I could see the tension in her face, the way her jaw stretched and the skin seemed almost translucent, pulsing faintly. The chat messages blurred together as fear and disbelief flooded the screen. My own viewers, hundreds of them, were yelling at me, begging me to stop, calling for help I couldn't reach. I tried to step back, bumping into the coffee table. The cat hissed and darted away into the shadows, tail puffed up. The lights flickered, then dimmed briefly, plunging the room into near darkness. When they came back, her smile moved. It seemed to grow wider, darker, the edges curling in a way that defied anatomy. I backed toward the door, tripping over the rug. Every instinct screamed at me to run, to escape, but my feet felt glued to the floor. My fingers clutched the laptop, trying to end the live. But the screen froze. Her face filled the feed, closer, more terrifying with every heartbeat. She whispered again, "Do you like my smile?" The voice came from inside my head as well as the room. Cold, wet, and hollow, filling every corner. I stumbled, fell against the wall, pressed my palms to my ears. The air around me felt viscous, heavy. I could smell something rotten, like decayed flesh, creeping in behind the faint scent of fake pumpkin spice. I finally got the courage to look down at her. And the last thing I saw before the live ended, her head turned sharply toward the camera. Her smile stretched impossibly wide. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dim light, black and endless. And she whispered one final phrase in that same deep, inhuman voice. "Now you're mine." The screen went black. I was alone in the room. My hands were shaking, my knees weak. Shadow the cat hissed from under the couch, hair standing on end. I reached out for Lena, empty air. She wasn't there. Just her costume, lying on the floor, untouched, cold. No warmth, no heartbeat. I ran to the front door, yanked it open, and spilled out onto the street. The night was silent except for rustling leaves and distant traffic. Nothing moved, no sign of her. The apartment behind me sat quietly, lights dim, as if nothing had happened. I don't know where she went. I don't know what that voice was. And I don't know if I'll ever see her again. All I know is that when I try to watch the recording of the live, the video always stops at the exact moment her smile stretches too wide. The last frame shows her leaning toward the camera, whispering that same impossible sentence. Now you're mine. I sleep with every light on now. I never go near the apartment again. And every time I close my eyes, I see that frozen, impossible smile, creeping closer, waiting for me in the darkness. Halloween isn't fun anymore. Halloween isn't safe. Because that smile, it's out there. I've always loved Halloween. Not the costumes, not the candy, but the thrill of a good scare. Amalia, 21, a small TikTok creator who does late-night live streams telling creepy stories. That night, I decided to do a special Halloween horror marathon, streaming from my small apartment in Lahore. The room was dim, only the glow from my laptop and a single orange candle lighting the corner. The faint smell of wax mixed with old carpet dust hung in the air. Hey guys, welcome to the Halloween horror marathon, I said into the camera, forcing a smile. Get ready for some scary stories. The chat blew up with greetings and emojis, the usual mix of excited fans. I settled back in my chair, laptop perched on my lap, and began with a classic ghost tale. The first 15 minutes were normal, filled with laughs, comments, and viewers reacting to my animated storytelling. Then, the messages started coming from a new viewer, Silent Follower. I hadn't seen the username before, no profile picture, no history. I assumed it was just another troll. Nice shirt. Did you just put it on? I frowned at the comment. I was wearing a loose gray sweater. I typed back, joking, thanks? Yes, I did. You just touched the candle. Don't burn yourself. A shiver ran down my spine. I glanced at the candle on the corner table. My hand had brushed it just moments ago. Okay, a very funny, I said aloud, trying to laugh it off. The chat responded with laughing emojis. I shrugged. Some of you really take trolling to a new level. But then the messages grew specific. The clock says 11:47. You're lying about the time. I froze. The microwave across the kitchen counter beeped exactly then, displaying 11:47. My stomach nodded. I told myself it was coincidence. All right, chill, Silent Follower. Lucky guess. Your blanket slipped off the chair. There. I fixed it. I swallowed hard. My blanket had fallen onto the floor a second ago. I reached over and tucked it back neatly, my hands trembling slightly. My viewers noticed my sudden quiet. Comments flew. Alia? Are you okay? Silent Follower is creeping me out too. Look behind you. I shook my head, forcing a laugh. Guys, seriously, someone's just messing with me. But the messages kept coming. Each one described something I had just done. Something in the room, something I hadn't even spoken aloud. The chat buzzed with panic. You put your hand on the doorknob. Don't bother. I froze. My fingers were already reaching for the doorknob to check the door, just in case. The apartment was quiet. No one else should be there. I locked it. My heart leapt. My voice caught in my throat. What do you mean? I whispered into the camera, more to myself than anyone else. The chat exploded. Turn off the stream. Get out. OMG, she's alone. I stepped back from the door, hands shaking. The doorknob wouldn't budge. I tugged gently. Locked. No key. I live alone. I always lock it. And yet, I hadn't touched it since starting the stream. Stop moving. I like watching you. The shadows in my apartment seemed thicker suddenly. The corners of the room shifted unnaturally in the flickering candlelight. The air felt heavier, colder, like it had condensed around me. My pulse thundered in my ears. I tried to reason. Okay. Maybe my laptop glitched or someone hacked it. Something stupid. It's just a prank. But the messages kept coming, precise, accurate. You just shivered. Did you feel that? I did. Goosebumps rose along my arms. My hair stood on end. The apartment was silent except for my shallow breathing and the faint hum of the laptop fan. I turned slowly, glancing toward the camera. The chat was frantic. Some viewers were pleading, some screaming in caps lock. The window is slightly open. You didn't notice. It's too late to close it now. I glanced toward the window, slightly open. I never left it that way. My heart froze. Stop panicking. I like it when you're scared. The candle flickered violently, casting shadows that seemed to reach toward me. My laptop glowed on my lap, screen reflecting my terrified eyes. I could feel it, someone or something in the room with me, watching. Close. I forced myself to move. I needed to get help. I reached for my phone across the table. My hand trembled uncontrollably. Don't bother. I locked it. My stomach dropped. The front door. Locked. My phone in hand. My only line to the outside world. Dead. I fumbled with it, trying to call anyone, anything, but the screen refused to respond. My pulse roared in my ears. Look behind you. I like the view from here. I froze. Slowly, I lifted my gaze. My apartment seemed unchanged. Shadows, furniture, my blanket, my cat, who had been sleeping quietly, now sat upright, tail flicking, staring at something behind me. Something I could not see. I wanted to scream. I wanted to bolt, but my feet felt glued to the carpet. My fingers refused to release the laptop. I could feel a presence just behind me. I could smell it. Faint, metallic, like blood and rust. The air pressed in cold and heavy. I whispered, barely audible. Who are you? The keyboard clicked lightly, even though no one touched it. Messages appeared from silent follower. I'm right here, I gasped. My eyes darted around. Nothing. My apartment was still, silent except for my own panicked breathing. But I knew it was there, watching, waiting, close enough that I could feel its gaze on the back of my neck. The candle guttered out. Darkness swallowed the room. Only the laptop screen illuminated my terror-stricken face. The chat froze. A final message appeared. Don't look around. I couldn't. I stayed perfectly still, body rigid, eyes wide. My heart threatened to burst. And then, without warning, the stream ended. Screen went black. Silence. I sat there for what felt like hours. Breath shaking. Pulse hammering. Every nerve screaming. Eventually, I mustered the courage to move. The apartment seemed empty. Locked. Silent. My cat had returned to her bed. Oblivious. But I know it was here. In the room. Watching. Waiting. And somehow, it still is. Every time I go live now, I feel it. The same gaze. The same chill. The messages never come, at least not on the screen. But I can feel them. Silent, patient, always near. Halloween isn't just one night anymore. It's every night. Because the whispering viewer never leaves. I should have stayed home that night. My name's Emma. I was 26, living in a small Chicago neighborhood tucked between wide streets and old brick buildings. It was December, snow falling thick and steady, the kind that muffles sound and makes everything feel unreal. I had been walking to clear my head, listening to the faint echoes of carolers from a few blocks over. Their voices mixed with the hum of streetlights, golden halos against the white snow. Peaceful, I told myself, but I should have known better. The first time I noticed it, I thought it was someone new joining the carolers. A figure stepped out from the shadows, blending into the group. Tall, thin, face obscured by a scarf and hood. But it didn't sing. Not a word. Not a whisper. It just moved with them, perfectly timed, like it belonged but didn't. I felt a chill run up my spine, sharp and immediate. The snow seemed heavier then, wet against my gloves, cold seeping through the seams. I shook my head. I'm imagining it, I told myself, but my gut didn't believe me. As I turned to leave, I saw it again. Not with the carolers this time. Standing a block ahead, unmoving, watching me. The streetlight caught the curve of its scarf, the slope of its shoulders. I paused. Footsteps crunched behind me. I glanced back. Nothing. But then, when I looked ahead, it had shifted closer. A step or two. I blinked, and it froze just like that. I walked faster. My breath fogged in short bursts. My hands shook inside my coat pockets. Each time I turned a corner, it was there, never running, never approaching, just drifting, sliding silently between houses, keeping pace without effort. By the time I reached my own block, my chest was tight, my stomach twisting. The streetlights cast long shadows, but the snow reflected the glow in patches, and I could see its silhouette again, standing near the next house. I froze, thinking it can't be real. I ran the last few steps to my door, fumbling with keys, fumbling with the lock. The figure didn't move. I slammed the door, twisted the deadbolt. My heart pounded so loudly I thought it would break my ribs. I pressed my forehead to the glass, staring out. The snow swirled, lights flickered, but it was gone. The next morning I looked outside, footprints in the fresh snow, leading straight to my window. I stepped out. No one had been there. The prints didn't start anywhere, they just appeared, perfectly spaced, vanishing into nothing. My hands trembled so hard I couldn't hold a coffee cup. My mother knocked, laughing at my pale face. "Emma, it's snow. Someone probably walked through last night." But I knew no one had. For weeks, I avoided walking alone after dark. I avoided even looking at the block where the carolers had been. But the memory lingered. The feeling of eyes on the back of my neck, the soft scrape of snow against boots that weren't there, the faint hum of a voice, almost singing, whenever the wind blew just right. One night, 3 weeks later, I was leaving a late shift at a diner. Snow again, thick, clinging to my coat. I crossed the street, headlights reflecting off the flakes, and there it was. A shadow, tall and silent, standing near a street lamp I passed every night. My chest went tight. My breath quickened. The air seemed to vibrate. I ran, zigzagging between streetlights, glancing back. It mirrored me, step for step, block for block. Not fast, not chasing, but relentless. I ducked into an alley, hoping to lose it. The smell hit me then. Cold metal, wet asphalt, faint rot. I gagged. My hands scraped against brick as I pressed myself against the wall, heart hammering, ears straining. Footsteps, soft, uneven, pacing. It wasn't walking. Not exactly. Not like any human could. I bolted again. The snow muffled everything but the sound in my ears. The uneven, eerie rhythm of boots on frozen ground. I couldn't tell if it was real or a trick of the wind. I ran until I reached my apartment building, throwing the door open, slamming it behind me. My body shook uncontrollably, wet snow melting on the carpet. I don't know how long I sat there, pressed against the wall, listening. And then I heard it. A soft, distorted melody. Someone singing. Just a few notes, uneven. Outside. Or, in my mind? I don't know. I haven't walked alone at night since. I don't leave my apartment after dark unless someone's with me. Every winter, when the first snow falls and the neighborhood lights go up, I hear it. Soft, uneven singing, echoing off the empty streets, mixing with the wind. Sometimes I swear I see it in the corner of my window, an elongated shadow, drifting, still faceless. Watching, waiting. People tell me it was stress, exhaustion, my mind playing tricks. Maybe they're right. Maybe I was imagining it. But I can still feel the cold press of its presence. The way the snow seemed to carry its weight. The faint scrape of footsteps in silence. My hands still tremble at the memory. My chest still tightens at the thought of walking alone after dark. And the worst part? I've never seen it approach. Never felt it touch me. But I know it's there. Patient. Waiting. I can feel its eyes on me every winter, even when I hide indoors. Some nights, when the lights are out and the city is silent except for the faint hum of heaters and distant traffic, I swear I hear it again. That soft, uneven singing, just outside my window. And I know deep down it hasn't stopped following. If you're walking alone this winter, snow falling, streets quiet, and you hear faint singing behind you, don't turn. Just keep moving, because some shadows don't need a body to follow you, and some songs never end. I never thought I'd be sitting on my porch at midnight on Halloween, phone in hand, streaming to a few hundred viewers, joking about how lame late trick-or-treaters had become. My name's Assad, 25, and usually Halloween means a couple of beers and a horror movie at home. This year, I thought I'd be funny. Go live, pretend I was guarding the candy, and make a few sarcastic comments about anyone who dared show up. The porch light flickered faintly, the old bulbs buzzing in protest. The night was unusually still, the kind of quiet that makes your own movements sound deafening. Leaves whispered across the driveway as a soft breeze swept through, carrying the faint smell of wet asphalt and dying autumn leaves. I sipped from my soda, held the phone steady, and grinned into the camera. "All right, folks," I said, laughing. "Who's brave enough to come by after midnight? I've got candy, I've got jokes, and I'm armed with, sarcasm." The chat responded predictably. "LOL, late night treats. Do it. Someone's gonna get scared XD." I leaned back in the chair, feet on the railing, pretending to yawn. The street was empty. The houses across the way were dark. I could see a few stray cats padding silently along the sidewalks, their eyes glinting in the porch light. Everything seemed normal. Minutes passed. I joked about giving candy to imaginary ghosts and vampires. The chat laughed along. But then, something moved. At the end of the driveway, a figure appeared. A child. Alone. Costume old-fashioned. A faded blue coat, short pants, black stockings, and a little cap pulled low over the face. But it wasn't just the costume. The way the child moved was wrong. Jerky, like a broken puppet, limbs stiff, advancing forward in tiny, unnatural motions. The kind of movement that shouldn't exist in a living body. Guys," I said, laughing nervously. Is this one of you messing with me?" The chat went insane. "Turn inside now. OMG, don't move. What is that?" The child didn't speak, didn't call out, just jerked forward in uneven steps, closer to the porch. My fingers tightened on the phone. My voice caught in my throat. I tried to joke. "Okay, Halloween prank, really good. But like, tell me who you are." Yeah. No response. Only the broken, stiff motions carrying the figure closer. Each movement somehow slower and faster at the same time. My pulse raced. A cold sweat ran down my back. The air around the porch felt heavier, as if gravity had shifted slightly, pressing in on me. I could smell something faintly metallic, coppery, like blood or rust. I laughed, trying to keep it casual, but my voice trembled. "All right, maybe I should just, give the candy from here. No need to come up, buddy." The child stopped a few feet from the porch steps, head down, cap shadowing the face, and then lifted it. The chat erupted. "Turn off the stream. Look at the face. Run." My stomach dropped. The face was waxy, expressionless, smooth, pale like a mannequin, eyes blank, staring through me, lips pressed into a permanent line. No blink, no twitch, just a frozen, lifeless stare that made my skin crawl. I couldn't breathe properly. Every instinct screamed to move, to run, to lock the door and forget this ever happened. But I was rooted in place, the phone shaking in my hands. The child jerked forward again. Faster now, unnatural. My heart hammered in my chest. I wanted to shout, to call for help, but no sound came. Muffled, trapped in my throat. And then, impossibly, it climbed. Onto the porch rail. Slowly. No bend to its knees, no hesitation. Just moved like it didn't have normal human joints. Sliding over the wood with a fluidity that shouldn't exist. The way it positioned itself, balancing on the narrow edge, made my stomach churn. My hands trembled violently on the phone. The porch light flickered, casting the figure's waxy face in harsh shadows. The expressionless eyes seemed to follow me, even though I had my head turned slightly. I could feel a presence pressing closer, though nothing in the physical world had moved. I stumbled back in my chair, almost falling over. The chat messages scrolled frantically. Some viewers claimed they could see small details I couldn't. The child's fingers curling like hooks, the slight shimmer of wetness on the costume, like the fabric had absorbed rain that hadn't fallen. The figure lifted one arm. Tiny, jerky motions. I froze. My heart was hammering so hard I could hear it in my ears. I could smell that metallic scent again, stronger this time. Copper, cold, terrifyingly close. The child didn't speak, didn't blink, just stared and stared. I backed into the doorway. My apartment felt suffocating. The air had grown cold and heavy, like I'd stepped into a freezer. My breath puffed in the porch light. Every nerve screamed at me to retreat inside, to lock the door, to hide. But the phone was still live, the viewers still watching, still witnessing. The child shifted on the rail. A small movement, almost playful, that made my stomach drop. And then the camera froze. Static. The porch, the street, the jerking, unnatural figure. All gone from the stream. But the sensation remained. That metallic scent. The cold pressure behind me. The feeling that something was leaning closer. Waiting. Watching. I grabbed the door handle. My hands shook violently. I shut it and locked it, heart still hammering. The wind whispered through the gaps of the porch, and the shadows outside seemed to shift in impossible ways. I could still feel the weight of those expressionless eyes, pressing on me even though nothing visible remained. I haven't gone back on the porch since. I haven't streamed again. And sometimes, late at night, I swear I see that tiny silhouette at the edge of my vision, jerking forward in broken motions, just outside the window, watching, waiting, silent, expressionless. And I know it's patient, because Halloween isn't over for it. I've always loved Halloween, mostly for the chance to dress up and make fun content. I'm Sanaa, 23, a small TikTok creator who does makeup and occasional spooky streams. That night, I decided to try one of those new ghost filters that overlay spectral faces onto your videos. Nothing fancy, just some harmless fun to entertain my viewers. I set up my phone on a tripod, the dim glow of a string of orange lights filling my bedroom. The air smelled faintly of burnt pumpkin candles and the lingering sharpness of polish from the freshly cleaned desk. Outside, the wind rattled the window ever so slightly, but nothing that made me nervous. My cat, Miko, curled up on the bed, tail flicking lazily. I tapped go live. Hey guys, happy Halloween, I said brightly. We're gonna try this spooky ghost filter. Should be fun. Viewers started joining instantly. Familiar names, a few new ones. Yes, spooky vibes. Show us the filter. Scare us, Sanaa. I laughed, holding my phone in front of my face. The filter immediately worked. Faint, flickering faces ghosted across the screen, some leaning in from corners, glowing pale and ethereal. I moved slightly, and the overlay followed me perfectly. Everything seemed normal, until it wasn't. The filter shifted. At first, I thought it was a glitch. I tapped the screen. No change. The overlay was detecting a face behind me. I spun the camera around. Empty room. Miko was still on the bed. My roommate wasn't home. I laughed nervously. Okay. Glitchy filter, good one. But the chat was going wild. What's behind you? There's a face. Look. I squinted at the phone, heart starting to pick up speed. The filter had tagged something just behind my chair. It wasn't a smudge or a trick of the light. The overlay clearly showed a translucent human-shaped figure, pale, almost skeletal, facing me. I turned around slowly. Nothing. My room was empty. Just the cluttered desk, my bed, and Miko, blinking at me like nothing was happening. I laughed shakily. Guys, okay, very funny. No one's here. Miko, see? Just you and me. The chat didn't listen. It was going berserk now. It's moving closer. OMG, get out of there. Look again. I stared at the phone screen. The figure had shifted. Closer. Its glowing, hollow eyes tracked my movements. Its long, ragged hair trailed down, catching the dim light in a way that made it feel impossibly real. I swallowed hard. The hair. It moved as if pushed by wind, but no window was open. The figure's body leaned forward slightly, over my shoulder. I could feel my pulse pounding. My hands trembled. Okay. Filter, that's enough. I waved my hand in front of the camera. The overlay didn't respond. It wasn't the filter anymore. It was following me. My stomach sank. I stood up slowly, forcing myself not to turn my back to the screen. Every time I moved, the overlay face shifted closer until I could feel, almost physically, that presence behind me. I whispered, voice shaking, "This isn't funny anymore. Whoever's messing with me." But the room remained silent, empty. The lights flickered slightly, and a chill ran down my spine, as if the temperature itself had dropped a few degrees. My breath misted faintly in the air. The chat was frantic now, messages scrolling so fast I could barely read them. "Run! Turn off the live. It's right there." I tried to end the stream. My fingers pressed the X button. Nothing. The live continued, frozen on my terrified expression, the filter overlay still showing the figure looming directly over my shoulder. I spun in my chair, trying to confront whatever it was. Nothing. My room was completely empty. Miko hissed at the corner of the room, fur bristling. I backed away slowly. Every instinct screamed at me to leave, but my legs felt like lead. The filter, or whatever it was, didn't just follow me. It hovered, weightless, impossibly close. I could see details now. Pale, almost translucent skin, ragged nails curling downward, hair matted as if soaked in water. The eyes glowed faintly, hollowed black pits that seemed to bore into me. I whispered, almost sobbing, What are you?" Nothing. Just the faint flicker of the orange lights and Miko's hissing. The overlay shifted again, closer. So close that I could feel it right behind me. The phone in my hand trembled violently. I dropped it on the desk. The camera caught only part of my face, frozen in terror. The chat messages were still scrolling frantically, repeating words like a broken record. "It's touching you. Turn around. Run." Couldn't move. Then something new. A faint, wet exhale sounded. Not through the phone, not through the earbuds, but directly behind me. I could feel it brushing the back of my neck. My skin crawled. Goosebumps erupted from my scalp to my toes. I spun in my chair, heart pounding, eyes wide. Nothing. Empty room. Just my desk, my bed, and Miko now retreating under the bed. The filter overlay continued to tag the face, right over my shoulder, almost real enough to touch. I reached out hesitantly, shaking violently, to swipe at the phone screen. My fingers brushed it, and the overlay flickered, then solidified. Not translucent, solid, like a person was standing there. I stumbled backward. My chair tipped. I hit the floor with a thud. My phone clattered across the desk, still broadcasting, still showing the figure now perfectly aligned with me. My own eyes, wide and frozen in terror, stared back at me from the live feed. A whisper, soft and wet, came from nowhere and everywhere at once. "Found you." I froze. My throat caught. My heartbeat thundered. I could feel the presence right behind me now, heavy and warm, smelling faintly of wet earth and decay. My chest heaved. The live feed finally cut. Static filled the screen. My phone fell silent. My room was empty again. But I could feel it, that presence. Watching, waiting, somewhere behind me, just out of reach in the shadowy corner of my room. I haven't streamed since. I haven't touched the filter again. And every time I look at the tripod, or see my phone glowing faintly on the desk, I can feel it, waiting, because I know somewhere, whatever it was, it found me. I've always liked doing TikTok lives. Q&A sessions, casual chats, showing off small pranks, nothing big, nothing crazy. My name's Hamza. I'm 24, living alone in my small apartment in Karachi, and for some reason, I thought Halloween was the perfect night to do a live Q&A. I figured a few viewers, some jokes, maybe a creepy story or two. Nothing would happen. I set up my phone on the desk, earbuds in, room dim except for the glow of my desk lamp. The faint smell of coffee lingered from earlier, mixed with the musty scent of my carpet. Outside, the wind rattled the window just slightly, but nothing alarming. I leaned back in my chair and hit go live. "Hey, everyone," I said into the mic, "Happy Halloween. Let's do a Q&A. Ask me anything." The viewers trickled in. Familiar usernames, a few new ones. Hey Hamza. Happy Halloween, man. Tell us a scary story. I laughed. Alright, I'll tell one soon, but first, questions. Don't be shy. For the first 10 minutes, everything was normal. I answered questions about my life, my favorite movies, random jokes. Then, a faint sound came through my earbuds. I froze, breathing, heavy, wet, inhaling and exhaling in uneven gulps. I took out an earbud. My room was empty. I was alone. My door locked, the window shut. No one. I looked at the camera. Guys, you hear that too? Immediately, the chat lit up. Yes, what is that? Dude. It's creepy? Is someone there? I swallowed hard. I don't know. Maybe it's some weird mic feedback. I tapped the mic, fiddled with the earbuds, tried to ignore it, but it didn't stop. In fact, it grew louder, each breath wetter than the last, like someone was exhaling through a wet cloth right next to my ear. My pulse spiked. I leaned back in the chair, trying to convince myself it was some glitch. Okay, it's fine. Tech. Probably. Then someone in the chat wrote, "There's something under your bed." I laughed nervously. Very funny. And oh, seriously, I see it. Another viewer typed, "Crawling. Something crawling under the bed." I froze. My room was small. My bed against the wall. I could see under it. It was dark, shadowy. I slowly reached down, fingers trembling, and pulled the blanket off the edge to peek. Nothing. Nothing. The breathing stopped. Completely. A wave of relief washed over me. I laughed weakly, trying to calm my shaking hands. Okay. False alarm. Nothing under the bed. Everyone good. The chat went silent for a moment. Then a single message appeared. Too late. I frowned. What do you mean, too late? Before anyone could respond, a faint whisper drifted through my earbuds. I thought my heart would stop. Found you. I froze. Who said that? My voice shook as I spoke into the mic. The chat exploded. Did you hear that? Yes, OMG. Turn off the stream. I yanked the earbuds out. The whisper was gone. The room was silent. My pulse pounded so hard I could feel it in my throat. I looked under the bed again. Empty. The room was as normal as it had ever been, too normal. I wanted to end the live. I reached for the phone, thumb over the end button, but it wouldn't register. The screen froze. My face on display, wide-eyed. The chat scrolling madly beneath me, but I couldn't stop it. Another sound came from the earbuds. Slow, wet breathing again, closer this time. Not from under the bed. Not from any place I could see, but close, right behind my ear. I spun in my chair. Nothing. Just walls, my desk, my door locked, shadows stretching along the corners of the room. The smell of something metallic filled my nostrils. Copper, warm, like fresh blood. My skin crawled. Goosebumps rose along my arms and neck. The chat kept going. Viewers typing frantically, warnings flooding the screen. I couldn't even read them all. My fingers were shaking too hard to scroll. The breathing grew louder, wet, almost like it was trying to crawl inside the mic itself. I could feel each exhale against my neck, imagined it brushing across my shoulder. I wanted to scream, to run, but I was paralyzed. Who are you? I whispered, voice shaking. Nothing. Then a soft, dragging sound. Something scraping along the floor near the bed. Something slow, deliberate. I realized with a sickening chill that it didn't sound like a person walking. It was low, wet, almost like nails scratching carpet. I forced myself to lean over, lifting the blanket completely to check again. Nothing. Empty. The whisper came again. Found you. It was faint, barely audible but clear. Not from the phone, not from the speakers. Somewhere behind me, somewhere close, too close. I could feel the temperature drop. My breath misted in the room, though the heater had been on just moments ago. My hands shook violently. Every hair on my body stood on end. I wanted to run but felt like my legs had been replaced with stone. The phone screen started glitching, static flickering over my face, the chat moving impossibly fast, repeating words I couldn't read. The breathing now matched my heartbeat. Slow, wet, deliberate. I had to move, had to get away. I yanked the phone off the stand, dropped it on the floor, and bolted toward the door. My fingers trembled as I tried to turn the lock. The doorknob felt icy, slick, like something cold and wet had coated it. I finally twisted it and yanked the door open. Nothing. The hallway was empty. The apartment building was silent, too silent, like everyone had vanished. I ran to the stairwell, heart hammering, head spinning. My phone, still live, still broadcasting, lay back in the room, glowing faintly with static. I didn't look back. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in a friend's apartment, trying to convince myself it had all been a hallucination, a tech glitch, something explainable. But the memory of that wet, deliberate breathing stayed with me. The whisper, "Found you." Even now, when I plug in earbuds, I feel it. That cold press against my eardrum, the wet inhale that seems just behind me, following me. And I can't shake the certainty that somewhere, somehow, whatever it was, it's still looking for me. I've always loved Halloween, but my apartment isn't exactly big enough for parties. I'm Aisha, 22, a student and a small-time TikTok creator who films lifestyle and occasional horror content. That night, I decided to give my viewers a Halloween-themed house tour. Nothing fancy, just my little place decorated with cobwebs, flickering orange lights, and cheap plastic pumpkins. It was the first time I'd ever gone live with a full walkthrough, so I was excited to see the reactions. It was around 11 when I started streaming. The apartment smelled faintly of burnt wax from a few candles I'd lit for atmosphere, mixed with the sharp scent of polish from the freshly cleaned floor. I set the camera on my phone, held it steady, and greeted my viewers with an enthusiastic, "Hey guys! Welcome to my Halloween tour. Let's start with the living room." The chat lit up immediately. "Yes, spooky vibes. Show the hallway. Show the hallway. Love the decorations." I laughed and pointed the camera toward my living room first, letting them see the glowing pumpkins on the shelves, the fake cobwebs stretched across the walls, and my little makeshift ghost figures hanging from the ceiling. Everything felt safe and familiar. I was the only one home. My sister had gone out with friends earlier, and my cat, Salem, curled up on the sofa, tail flicking lazily. Then I moved toward the hallway, the narrow corridor that led to my bedroom. The lights were dim there, and the shadows clung to the corners like thick smoke. I had strung orange fairy lights along the wall, but even they couldn't fully illuminate the space. That's when the chat started buzzing differently. "Who's that at the end? Wait, there's someone standing there. Turn the camera. Turn the camera." I laughed nervously. "What are you talking about? There's no one there. It's just me." The chat kept insisting, flooding the screen with warnings and panicked emojis. Hesitantly, I turned the phone slightly to give them a view of the far end of the corridor. My stomach dropped. A figure stood there. A woman, or maybe a girl. Hard to tell. She wore a torn, faded dress that hung loosely from her frame. Long black hair covered her face completely, hiding her features. She didn't move. She didn't breathe. She just stood at the end of the corridor, perfectly still. "Okay," I said, trying to keep my voice light. "Very funny. I know some of you like to prank me." I paused, glancing over my shoulder. The corridor was empty. "Nope, that's not funny anymore." The chat erupted. "Aisha, don't go near her. Stop. Just leave the corridor alone." I took a deep breath, telling myself it had to be a prank. Maybe my sister had come back unexpectedly. "Hey," I called out. "Is that you, Zara? Quit it, you're scaring me." No response. The figure didn't move. Its long hair swayed slightly as if caught by a breeze, but the body itself remained unnervingly rigid. I swallowed hard. My hands were shaking slightly as I gripped the phone. I leaned closer to the camera, trying to reassure my viewers, even though my heart pounded like a drum. "Guys, seriously, my sister isn't home. No one's here. This isn't funny." The chat didn't listen. Warnings kept coming, frantic and insistent. "Do not walk toward her. Leave the room now. Run." But I couldn't look away. The figure was unreal, like something out of a nightmare. It seemed to absorb the light around it, the torn dress blending with the shadows. Every instinct screamed at me to back away, but curiosity, or maybe foolish bravery, made me step forward. I took a careful step. The figure didn't move. Its head remained lowered, hair still obscuring its face. I called out again, voice shaking, "Okay. Look, you're scaring the hell out of me. Show me your face. Please." Nothing. Another step. Closer. I felt the temperature drop suddenly, like someone had opened a freezer door behind me. My breath clouded in the dim light. The air felt thick, heavy with an acrid smell, like wet earth mixed with something rotten. My skin prickled. Goosebumps ran down my arms. The chat kept pleading, but I barely registered their words. My focus was on the end of the corridor, on the dark shape that had somehow become more present. The closer I got, the more it seemed to loom, larger than it should. Finally, I reached a few steps from it. My hand trembled as I raised my phone, heart hammering, ready to confront whatever this was. And then it moved, slowly, just its head. It lifted and turned toward me. I froze. I couldn't see a face, just the dark hair shifting slightly, revealing pale skin. A pale, narrow chin, lips barely visible, colorless. But the eyes, I couldn't see them, and yet I felt them, like ice digging into my chest. The corridor seemed to stretch impossibly, the shadows thickening around it, swallowing the light. The chat exploded in sheer terror. Their frantic typing scrolled endlessly. "Stop! Do not go closer. Turn back now." I felt my legs weaken. My breath came in short, sharp gasps. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but my body refused to move. I was rooted in place, staring at the figure. And then the live cut out. Instantly, static filled the screen. A high-pitched, grating sound buzzed through the phone speakers. I slammed it to the ground, my ears ringing. My apartment was silent again. The candles had gone out. The fairy lights flickered weakly. The corridor was empty, but it wasn't empty. I could still feel it. That presence, lingering at the end of the hallway. Watching, waiting. Even though my eyes saw nothing, my skin knew it was there. I backed into my living room, tripping over a pumpkin decoration. My hands shook as I grabbed my phone. The live app refused to close. The static persisted on the screen, like a window into somewhere else. Somewhere dark. Somewhere the woman had gone. I haven't gone near the corridor since. I avoid that side of the apartment completely. Every night, the shadows seem longer there, heavier, as if waiting for me to come closer. I can feel her there, behind that darkness, always just out of sight. Sometimes, late at night, I hear a soft scraping sound. Something moving slowly along the floor. Something breathing. And I swear, when I glance toward the corridor, just for a moment, I see a faint outline. Long hair, pale skin, dress torn and fluttering. Watching me, waiting. I don't know if she's human. I don't know if she's real. But I know she's there. And I know she's patient. Because she never moves until I'm looking away. I'm 34 now, but this happened when I was 25. And I swear I still smell that candle sometimes. That same sickly sweet smoke. It hits me in random places. At work. In my car. Sometimes in the middle of the night. That's when I know it remembers me. Back then, I was the kind of person who believed solitude would fix everything. Heartbreak. Go somewhere quiet. Work stress. Isolate. Emotional burnout. Hide far away from people. So that Christmas Eve, I rented a small lodge in Vermont. Middle of nowhere. A frame cabin. Tight wooden hallways that smelled like old pine and dust. I wanted silence. I got it. I should have listened to that feeling I had when I first arrived. The one that whispered, "Turn around." But I didn't. Not even when I saw the power lines sagging dangerously under the weight of ice. Not even when the caretaker said, "You'll hear things. Don't let it get to you." Old lodges breathe. He laughed afterward, but his eyes didn't. If I'd known what was coming, I swear I would have driven all the way back home in a blizzard. The first 6 hours were normal. I made tea, read a book by the window, watched the snow pile up outside until everything looked swallowed. But by late evening, the wind shifted. It stopped howling, stopped moving. The world outside went unnaturally still. Then the power died. The entire cabin fell into blackness so fast it felt like someone had put a bag over my head. The heater cut out. The refrigerator clicked off. The hum of electricity disappeared. Just silence. The kind that presses against your skin. My breath fogged in front of me. The temperature dropped fast, too fast. Felt like the cold was crawling, inch by inch up my spine. I told myself not to panic. I told myself this was normal for old lodges. I told myself I was fine. I wasn't. I fumbled through the hallway, hands against the rough wooden walls. My fingertips brushed peeling varnish, splinters, dust. That's when I felt it. A small metal holder mounted on the wall. Something cylindrical sitting in it. Candle. I didn't question it. I should have. I should have wondered why a modern, rented lodge had an old candle tucked in the hall like some relic. But cold messes with your thinking. Fear messes with it even more. I lit it with the lighter from my bag. That was the first mistake. The flame flickered weak at first, then steadied into a dim orange glow. It threw long shadows across the hall, too long, almost stretched. The smoke drifted upward, and the moment it hit my nose, my stomach twisted. It didn't smell like wax, or wood, or anything familiar. It smelled sweet, sugary, rotten underneath, like fruit left out too long mixed with something chemical. My eyes watered instantly. I waved the smoke away and stepped back, but the candle's shadow didn't move with the flame. It pulsed, subtle at first, like it breathed. I blinked hard, told myself I was tired. My vision was playing tricks. The candlelight was dancing weird against the wood. All logical explanations my brain threw at me because it didn't want to accept the truth. Then the shadow slid sideways. Not the candle. The shadow. It detached slightly from the base of the flame and stretched along the wall like a smear of ink. No shape, no outline, just darkness that felt thick. My breath went shallow. That's not real, I whispered to myself. It's just the light playing tricks. But then I heard it. Breathing. Not mine. Not the creaking cabin. A slow, heavy inhale right behind me. My skin went tight. Every hair on my arms rose. The air behind me felt warmer, wet almost, like someone's mouth was near my neck. I didn't turn around. Couldn't. I just stepped backward once. And the breathing followed. Perfectly timed. A half second behind my movements. My entire body locked up. My fingers were trembling so hard I nearly dropped the lighter. The candle flame flickered violently, the shadow rippling like water under it. I finally forced myself to move slow, deliberate steps toward the staircase that led to the exit. My boots scuffed softly against the old wood. The breathing followed, each inhale dragging like someone struggling to fill their lungs. When I reached the top of the stairs, the candlelight stretched down the steps, but the shadow was already at the bottom, waiting, long, still, almost human-shaped now, just dark enough that the boards beneath it disappeared. My throat closed. I couldn't even make a sound. Every instinct screamed run, but my legs turned to ice. Then the breathing behind me stopped, and something colder leaned into my back. Not wind, not imagined, something with weight. I bolted. My feet slammed against the stairs so fast I nearly slipped. The air warped. I swear I felt fingers, cold, bony, brush the back of my jacket. The candle went out behind me with a soft hiss, throwing the cabin into complete darkness. I didn't look back. Not once. I just threw myself at the front door, grabbed the handle, and yanked. It jammed. Of course it jammed. I rattled it, shoved it, slammed my shoulder into the wood. My breath came in ragged, wet gasps. The darkness behind me felt like it was swelling forward, like it had weight, speed, hunger. Then, through the glass panel next to the door, a faint glow reflected behind me. The candlelight, but I hadn't relit it, and the reflection wasn't of me. It was taller, narrower, a shape that shouldn't exist in any normal dimension. The door finally gave, and I stumbled into the snow, falling to my knees. Cold shot through my palms, grounding me. I scrambled up and ran, didn't matter where. My footsteps punched deep holes in the fresh snow as I tore through the night. I didn't stop until I saw headlights from a distant passing truck. The driver almost didn't believe me. The police didn't believe me either. They checked the lodge, said the candle wasn't there, said there was no sign of forced entry, said I probably panicked in the blackout. But I know what I saw, I know what I heard, and I know what was breathing behind me. Every year since, I avoid candles. Even scented ones in stores make my hands shake. Some nights I wake up choking on that same sweet smell. And sometimes, in the corner of my eye, I see something shift on the wall, just for a second. A shadow that doesn't belong to anything. A reminder that it followed me, that it's still learning my shape. And someday, I think it'll step out of the wall for real. When that happens, I won't be fast enough. I always tell people that doing makeup live streams is supposed to be fun, therapeutic even. A safe hobby, my mother used to call it. No late night driving, no strangers at your door, no dangerous environments. But ever since that Halloween night, I can't sit in front of a mirror without feeling my stomach fold into itself. My name is Zara. I'm a part-time SFX makeup artist on TikTok. Fake cuts, stitched mouths, peeled skin, the gory stuff that goes viral every October. My setup is in my bedroom, the only space in my apartment that catches decent lighting. I have a desk, a cheap ring light, and to make the background look a little more aesthetic, I hung a decorative, floor-length vintage mirror behind me. I bought that mirror from a thrift market in Karachi. Heavy wooden frame, floral carvings, the kind of antique that looks expensive but isn't. I loved it instantly. I didn't know I had brought something else home with it. The night everything happened, I was doing a Halloween wound tutorial. Fake bruising, fake gashes, the usual. I remember the room felt a little cold. Colder than it should have been. The window was closed, but I could see my breath just slightly when I exhaled. I thought it was nerves. This was my first time trying to hit 10,000 viewers on a Halloween live. I tapped Go Live. The ring light buzzed to life, turning everything into that deep blue-white glow. My screen filled with familiar usernames. Yes, Zara is live. Teach us the stitched mouth PLZZZ. Happy Halloween Queen. I grinned into the camera. Alright guys, we're doing a torn cheek effect tonight. Super easy. You just need wax, fake blood, and a good blend. Felt normal. I dipped my brush into the palette and began shading the hollow of my cheek. I leaned close to the camera. The chat kept rolling, compliments, questions, jokes. Then a message slid in. Who's standing behind you? I thought it was someone trolling, so I ignored it and kept blending. But then 3 more messages popped up. Girl, someone behind you FR. The mirror. Look. Bro, what is it? My stomach tightened. I slowly lifted my eyes to the tiny preview screen on my phone. Behind my head, the edge of the decorative mirror was visible. Empty room. Nothing weird. I laughed awkwardly. Guys, don't scare me. I'm alone. Okay? Stop. The chat didn't stop. And oh Zara, look. Check the mirror please. ITS moving. My smile faded. I forced myself to turn around and glance at the mirror directly. Nothing. Just my messy bed, a pile of clothes, and the faint reflection of the ring light. But when I turned back to the camera, the chat was erupting. IT moved. It's in the mirror, not in room. OMG, what is that standing there? My fingers suddenly felt numb. The ring light flickered, dimmed, then steadied again. I tried to joke. Okay, if this is some Halloween prank, good one. I'm spooked. But my voice cracked. I dipped into the wax and tried to continue the tutorial, pretending everything was fine. Brush strokes, blending, dabbing fake blood. My hands were trembling so badly the effect looked sloppy. Then someone wrote, "It's right behind you now." A hard chill ran through me. I didn't want to look. Every instinct screamed not to, but I forced myself. I twisted slightly and checked the mirror again. And that's when I saw it. Not clearly, not fully, but enough. In the far left corner of the mirror's reflection, where my wardrobe should have been, there was a shape. Pale shape. A figure. Perfectly still. Human-sized. Head tilted slightly as if listening. Skin white like damp paper. My heart punched my ribs. I whipped around. Nothing in the room. But in the mirror, it was there. Okay. My voice wavered. I think the mirror is just old. Distorted. Maybe it's the lighting. But even I didn't believe that. The chat exploded harder. It's getting closer. Don't turn around again. End the live. I tried. I swear I tried. But when I tapped the X button to end the stream, it didn't respond. The screen froze. Only for a second, then the live resumed. Except the viewer count jumped suddenly to 99.99. Then 12,000. Then 18,000. My live had never hit numbers like that. Never. More comments poured in. Fast. Too fast. Behind you. ITS smiling. The mirror. Run. I couldn't move. My hands felt pinned to the desk. My breath was shallow, almost silent. I forced myself to look back at the mirror one more time. The figure was closer. Not closer like a step. Closer like it had shifted, jumped by several feet. Now it stood directly behind my chair in the reflection, inches from my hair. Its face wasn't clear, like the mirror warped its features, but I could see the eyes. Black, hollow, not sunken, missing, just cavities. And yet they felt locked on me. I swallowed hard. If someone is in my house, this isn't funny. Show yourself. My voice echoed strangely. The room swallowed the sound as if the walls were thicker, heavier than they should have been. I grabbed my phone, meaning to call someone, anyone, but the live screen stayed stuck on top. No swiping up, no exiting, no closing the app. Another message appeared. Don't move, but it wasn't from a viewer. The username was blank. No name, just a dash. And as I watched, more identical messages appeared, copying themselves. Don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move. The figure in the mirror twitched. Not moved, twitched, like a puppet pulled too sharply. The ring light flickered again, dimming so low that the only real illumination came from the phone screen. The air felt dense, wet, heavy with something metallic, like the smell of coins. The temperature dropped so sharply my fingertips turned numb. I could hear something now. Behind me, soft, uneven, breathing like someone inhaling through damaged lungs. I squeezed my eyes shut. Please, please stop. The breathing grew louder. The chat went insane. It's right behind her. Get out of room. Don't look in the mirror. Zara, please run. Then the mirror's reflection suddenly jumped. The figure lunged forward in it. Not one step. Not two. It was suddenly inches from the mirrored version of my face. But in the physical room, nothing touched me. Couldn't scream. I couldn't speak. The mirrored me opened her mouth. I didn't. My reflection's jaw dropped open, wider, unnaturally wide, stretching down like something was pulling it from the inside. I gasped. What is happening? My reflection leaned forward, reaching toward the glass from the inside. Fingers, long bone white, pressing against the inside surface of the mirror. The real room temperature dropped even further. My breath spilled out in white clouds. My hands shook uncontrollably. I tried one last time to end the live. The screen froze. The mirror creaked. I turned my head slowly, and my reflection wasn't me anymore. It was the figure, standing where my reflection should have been, staring out, head tilted, eyes hollow. My scream ripped out of me just as the live cut to black. Instant, silent, gone. I woke up on the floor hours later, the ring light off, the room warm again, the mirror still standing, but my reflection looked normal. Too normal, like it wasn't actually following my movements, just mimicking them half a second late. I haven't streamed since. I haven't touched the mirror. But last night, I got a DM from an unlisted account. No profile picture, no posts, just one message. Your reflection is still trying to get out. I never thought anything genuinely frightening could happen during a TikTok live. I mean, I'm a small creator, tiny actually. On a good night, I might pull 20 viewers. On Halloween night, I figured I'd go live, tell a couple spooky stories, maybe show off the cheap decorations taped around my room, and call it a night. My name's Adil. I'm 23, live alone, and my room, my whole apartment honestly, is barely bigger than a storage unit. The kind of place where you can sit on your bed and touch your desk without leaning forward. It was almost midnight when I hit go live. The ring light hummed beside me, giving everything that cold, artificial glow. Outside, I could hear distant fireworks, kids yelling somewhere in the alley, the usual Halloween noise. My room smelled faintly of dust and the instant noodles I had eaten earlier. The chat trickled in, usernames I recognized. Happy Halloween, bro. Tell us that Jin story again. Nice pumpkin lights. Normal. Comforting. I leaned closer to the phone. All right. I'll tell a creepy one. But then I want to show you guys the mask I bought. Wait till you see this thing. More comments, a few laughing emojis. Then, a new viewer entered. User 0000 joined the live. No profile picture. No bio. 0 followers. 0 following. Like someone made the account 5 seconds ago. I chuckled. Bot alert. But they didn't type anything. So I moved on, telling my story, waving my hands around for dramatic effect. The viewers sent laughing emojis, hearts, and the occasional, bro you scary. Then a message appeared. User 0000. Nice black hoodie. I froze mid-sentence. I wasn't wearing a hoodie, not on camera. I had a plain t-shirt on. My hoodie was on the chair behind me, off camera. The ring light didn't even reach that far. I tried to laugh it off. Lucky guess, I said. Everyone wears hoodies. Chat moved on quickly, but I kept glancing at the usernames sitting in the viewer list. A minute later, user 0000. Your window is slightly open. Close it. Cold air coming in. My heart tightened. My window was behind the camera, completely out of frame. And yes, it was open just a small crack. I had opened it earlier because the room was getting stuffy, but the night breeze had become icy. I swallowed. Whoever you are, nice try. I'm not falling for Halloween pranks. People in chat spammed. LOL, someone trolling. Bro creepy. Kick him. But I didn't kick him. I don't know why. Maybe a part of me wanted to see what he'd say next. Maybe I was already freaked out and couldn't admit it. I tried to keep going, but my voice was shaky now. I showed them the mask. I rambled about Halloween. Anything to push away the growing tension wrapping around my chest. Then another message slid in. User 0000. Someone is standing behind your door. My scalp prickled so hard I felt my hair roots sting. My door was behind the camera too. The chat filled instantly. Stop. No way. Bro check Pelosis. I forced a smile. Look guys, it's a troll. There's nobody here. But even as I said it, I felt my skin crawling, like someone was slowly breathing down my neck. I reached forward and flipped the camera around to show the door. The hallway was empty. When I flipped the camera back, the chat exploded again. But user 0000 didn't leave. Instead, they typed, User 0000, you didn't look long enough. My breath caught in my throat. I tried to end the live right there, but my hands were sweating so badly they slid across the screen. The button wasn't registering. Okay, I'm done with the jokes, I said, my voice thin. Whoever you are, stop. A new message appeared. User 000010. At first I thought maybe it was a glitch. Just 10. Nothing else. Then, user 0000. 9 user 000008. My heartbeat thudded so loudly I could barely hear the fireworks outside anymore. The people in chat went wild. He counting down? Bro, end the live. Adil, stop. I tried. I swear I tried. But the app froze. Everything froze. My face on the screen turned into a buffering blur. The viewer count glitched and flickered. The entire live became stuck, except for the chat. That kept going. I watched helplessly as the countdown continued. 765. The ring light flickered. The temperature dropped. Sharp, sudden, unnatural. My breath clouded in front of me like I was standing in a freezer. I grabbed the phone tighter. Hello? Is this a hack? Is someone? For 3. Before the 2 appeared, the sound in my room cut out. All of it. The fireworks. The kids outside. The hum of the ring light. Gone. Like someone had pressed mute on the entire world. I sat completely still, ears ringing. The room felt suffocating, pressing in from all sides. My eyes darted to the door. My skin crawled. My hands trembled so violently the phone shook. Then the final message appeared. User 0000, do not turn around. The live was still frozen on my face, my wide eyes staring back at me. But the chat kept moving. Rapid, panicked messages from viewers begging me not to listen, to run, to end the stream, to call someone. My throat felt like it was closing. I stared at the message again. Do not turn around. But when someone tells you not to do something, especially in a moment like that, your brain fixates on it. My mind began filling in the silence with the worst possibilities. A shadow, a face, someone crouched inches from me. I could feel it. Not air, not breath, just presence. Like the room was suddenly holding its breath with me. My neck twitched. I didn't want to turn. I didn't want to see. I didn't want to confirm the terrible shape my imagination was forming behind me. Then, something cold touched the back of my shoulder. Not lightly, not by accident. Pressed, slowly, intentionally, like a hand. The phone slipped from my grasp and clattered to the floor. The live unfroze for one split second, catching only the ceiling, the corner of my panic-twisted face, and the chat exploding into chaos. And then the stream ended. Just like that, instantly, silence filled my room again. I stayed frozen for, I don't know, 10 seconds? A minute? 10 minutes? Time stretched unnaturally wide, like I had stepped outside of it. Eventually, I forced myself to move. I bolted from the room without looking back, without grabbing anything, without even turning off the lights. I ran down the hallway, out of the apartment, down all 3 flights of stairs, and didn't stop until I was standing outside on the street, shaking so violently my teeth hurt. I never went back inside that night. And even now, weeks later, there's something I can't stop thinking about. When I finally got the courage to rewatch the last few seconds of that live, the moment before the camera fell, there was something in the reflection of the TV behind me. A shape, tall, dark, still, standing right behind my chair. Exactly where user 0000 said. I deleted the video. I reported the account. I changed phones. I even moved apartments. But last night, at exactly midnight, I got a notification. User 0000 started following you. And I swear, I could feel that cold hand on my shoulder again.